Welcome to Signals and Systems course. My name is Muhammad Al-Thamia. I'm originally from Jordan. I came to the United States in 2018. I did my master and PhD. So I graduated from Auburn University in 2022, December. Then I started as a postdoctoral fellow and instructor at the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. So I was teaching several courses, like Fundamentals of Electrical Engineering, Digital Logic course, and even like some students, I was teaching in Digital Logic. I see some students here. Then now this is my first time that I will be teaching Signals and Systems. Let's go to the course syllabus. So everyone has an access to Canvas. So on Canvas homepage, you will be directed to the syllabus. We see here, this is my email address. My office hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday from between 9 to 10. And my office will be in round 158. Or I can be in the lab round 152. Most likely during my office hours, you will find me in the office round 158. The lab and the office are very close to each other. And so if my office hours 9 to 10 does not work for you, please reach to me and send me an email. Then we can set up an appointment to see what's your availability, what's the time that works for me, both of us, me and you. And I prefer to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If we cannot make it in person, we can make it in Zoom, depending on your availability. And the ideal time to get in touch with me is just directly after the class, after the lecture. So as we know that this course, there will be a lab, so associated with the lab. So we have 2 GTAs that will be associated with the labs. So most likely we have 4 sections. So the TA line will be, she will be your TA, section 3, 4, and 8. If you're with these sections, you will be responsible for the labs, while Jake will be responsible for section 1, so depending on your registration. So again, like the GTAs are responsible for directing and grading the labs. Anything associated with the labs, experiments, I think there will be 12 lab experiments, you will be only associated with the TA. While the grader, so the grader, you will be your grader for grading the homeworks, math lab projects, and exams. So those are only associated with the, again, those are associated with the course. While in the lab, there are some other math lab assignments associated with the lab that are only associated with the lab. So what's for the lab will be with the GTAs, while what's in the course itself will be for the TA with the grader. So again, the grader will be responsible for the homeworks, math lab, and the exams, math lab projects and the exams. So the textbook, it's available free to download for everyone. So you can go to the web page and you can click on free download, register your information to get the textbook. So I encourage you to do this to get as soon as possible and get this textbook. So keep in mind the other textbooks we will not use them, but we will use only the textbook that we have in the free version, especially in the homeworks. So there will be some homeworks assigned which will be from the textbook. Okay, so the course in general will be about signals and systems. So signals, we will go through the systems in time domain, frequency domain. So we can go for modeling and analyzing any continuous and discrete time systems. So this course is very important and very essential in electrical engineering. So this is the base. So most likely you will use these tools later in the future courses. So most likely you will see this course like there are a lot of math, a lot of coding, a lot of things that sometimes you can say, okay, how can we use this in real life? So you will not see the application here. You will see it later, and you will see how useful it is later, especially when you go later in control system courses, or when you go to communications in power systems. So it will be used in different areas, in wireless communication, no matter what your major, in computer as well. So you will use this a lot. So these tools are very important and very essential. So this course is not easy. it is kind of difficult. The difficulty is too many things to do. There is a lab, there is a lab reports, then there is a homeworks, weekly homeworks, then there is exams. So there are a lot of things to do. And if you are not up to date with this course, you will get lost. So I encourage you to be up to date. So after today's lecture, review today's lecture. After Friday's lecture, review it. So keep in mind to review it, and don't wait until the exam day or wait until like the project day. So please make sure you need to do it to be up to date with this as soon as possible, as much as you can. Again, it's not easy course, but if you understand this, it will be fine. So it's like climbing the hill, step by step. So lecture number 1 will be too easy, number 2 is easy, then everything depending on the previous lectures. So if you cannot understand lecture number 2, then you will not understand 3. If you have a problems in continuous time, of course you will struggle with discrete time, because it's based on it. Okay? The grading policy, there will be 3 midterm exams, so 12 points each, so 36 in total. Homeworks 10%, there will be around 15 homeworks. Math lab projects, there will be 3 math lab projects. Labs, so the labs will be, the TA will be responsible again about the labs, so it will be 20%, and there will be, I think, around 12 experiments. Final exam will be 30%, which is going to be cumulative, including everything, including first, second, third exam. So the total will be 101, so there is 1 point bonus. So this is just like to encourage you to do well in this course. So the graders, the grades are assigned as shown here. So A higher than 90, B 80, C higher than 70, D 60, and F below than 60. Okay, so I hope you will enjoy this course. So we can enjoy it together. This is my first time I'm teaching this course, so I hope you can enjoy it. Then the exams date have already been assigned. So exam 1 will be Wednesday, February 14th. Exam 2, Wednesday, March 20. Exam 3, Monday, April 22nd. Final exam, Friday, May 3rd. So please make sure to mark all of these exams on your calendar. So it will be to make sure there is no other things that you have, like you will not have a problem with test conflict with other courses, or so, for example, travel conflict or any other things. So keep in mind to put this, so if you have any travel plans, any other things to do, so you can have these dates are reserved. The homeworks, so there will be 15 homeworks. Also, the homework dates has already been assigned. So because homework number 1 due dates is January 19, homework 2 January 24, etc. So you will see there are a lot of works to do in this course. So this is to keep up with the course and make sure that you understand the course very well. The math lab projects, also the dates of math lab projects are assigned here. So we have first one in January 29, then second one February 7, and third one in April 1st. Then you can also actually, I will post an announcement how to make, to connect calendar of Canvas to your calendar, to your Ford calendar or your Outlook calendar. So if you can have these dates in your phone or in your calendar, then you can make sure you will not miss any of this. So most likely, by going to Canvas and assignments, you will see all of these assignments has been assigned on dates, based on dates. So even like the exams and the homeworks, the MATLAB projects. So most likely, the homeworks, you will submit this on Canvas. MATLAB projects, also there are procedure how to submit it in Canvas. This procedure on the syllabus. Then you will see some homeworks like homework 15, homework 11, homework 5. These 3 homeworks, there is no submission, which will not be graded, these 3 homeworks. So the total 15 homeworks, but there will be only 12 homeworks graded. While these 3 homeworks are not graded because this will be before the test. So we don't want to make it too hard on you, like doing the lab and doing the homework, studying for the test. So at that time, this homework will not be submitted, but it will be very important for you for the test, because some of the homework problems, you might see something similar to this in the test. So keep in mind, or these 3 homeworks, you are not required to submit this, but they will still include it in the exam. Okay, so let's go here. The lectures. So most likely the lectures, I'm going to write the lectures notes. So I encourage you to write with me. After the end of the lecture, I'm willing to upload these notes on Canvas under files. Then you will see lecture notes. You will see a folder lecture notes. I think now it is empty, but you will see it when I post this. For the labs, you will see the files associated with the labs and the lab distribution here, the lab schedule, and your name on the lab, which group. So most likely in Friday lecture, the TA will come here to this class. So in the last 10 minutes, she will explain to you how to submit the lab reports, what you are expecting to do in the lab. The first week, which is this week, there will be no labs. The labs will start from next week. So in Friday lecture, the TA will explain more about the labs. So actually the TA knows better than me about the labs. So this will be in Friday. Then, again, for the lecture notes, please, if you have any question, you feel free to ask. If you feel like that question takes long time, we can talk after the class or during the office hours. Then if you see me going too fast in the lecture, please request me to slow down. If you have any clarifications, raise your hand and ask. Again, like the lecture notes will be uploaded to Canvas. So if you have questions during the class, you can ask me, or you can send me an email, or we can do a lab, or we can do a Zoom meeting, or in my office hour, very welcome. For tutoring services, so College of Engineering, they have tutoring services, so you can, for this course, so if you need some help, it's an open source for everyone. Then for student collaboration, it's not allowed to make some collaboration about the homeworks and or the projects. Unless if you have a slide, sometimes you have a slide question, so in understanding some materials, but not for solving things. So sometimes if you need some help, make sure, don't share your solution, but you need to disclose this in that you receive some help. So if you receive some help from other students or a tutor, you need to disclose help in page 1 of your submission. This will not affect your grade, but in case when we check plagiarism, so we need to make sure that there is no similarity between your report or your, for example, projects and other student projects. So if we notice there is a lot of similarity, this is considered as there's cheating or something like that, dishonest, because there's a lot of similarities. Depending on we will do some evaluations. So keep in mind when you do your projects or do your homework, do it in your own. But in case if you need some help or if you ask some help, you need to disclose this your help in the first page of your submission, and this will not affect your grade. If you ask some help from GTA or from the instructor or the grader, you don't need to disclose this. So anything from the teacher, like TA, instructor, or the grader, you don't need to worry about this, don't disclose this. But I'm just saying, like, if you ask some help from a tutor or from other students. So you need to be professional, of course, in the class, so attendance is mandatory, so please make sure to attend each lecture, because it's very important to understand the lecture material, to be up to date with this. And if you need also like talking during the class when the lecture starts, please, it's prohibited. Then at the end of the class, I will try my best to end in time, so please make sure to don't disturb. Maybe like the last minutes will be the most important thing of the lecture, so please make sure not to do any disturbance. Then, okay, so for the homeworks, most likely you will see the homeworks here, and when you open the homework, you can see what's the homework will be. So like there is a PDF file of the homework, then there is also problem 111, this for homework number 1. This is the same for the rest of the homeworks. So all the homeworks, you have access to see what it is. And here the deadlines that I put it here, this is the deadline for submitting the homework. So please make sure to submit it. You see like the deadline at 10 a.m. at our lecture, our class time. Okay, so when you do the homeworks, it will be like 10 points each one, 8 points for the correctness, and 2 points for the neatness of the submission. So make sure to be neat and good. So maybe your answer is 100% correct, but you get 8 out of 10 because you report or you're not writing this in a professional way. Then make sure to write your name and overuse again on the submission. The submission will be on Canvas as a PDF file. So you will see sometimes many homework problems, or sometimes you see 1, 2, 3, 5 homework problems, but actually one problem will be graded, and the entire grade will be based on this problem. What's this problem? It's random. So for example, let's assume that I'm going to use problem 111 for homework number 1. So all of the class will be graded based on 111. So if you didn't do 111 correct and the verbs are correct, that's your problem. So please make sure when you do all of the problems, don't skip any problem. Do everything. Because the homework will be graded based only on one problem of the solution. Okay? So we will choose one randomly, but we will be fair, like all of the class will be graded based on this problem. It's not like you will be in this problem and your classmate will be in this problem. Okay? Then the homework solutions will be posted in Canvas files. They will be posted most likely before the first exam. I think 1 week before the first exam, they will be posted. All of the homework associated with the first exam. And so on. Before the second exam, they will be posted. Before the third exam, they will be posted 1 week before that. So once all of the homework problems will be posted, no late submission will be accepted. Okay? While before the submission, or late submission, if the homework solution is not published, but there is a late submission, there will be, I think, 30%. So it will be graded out of 7 instead of 3. So please make sure there will be no late submission to make sure you will not lose any points, because you don't need the points in this case. Okay, so once again the solution is submitted, then will not be allowed to submit. You can do your homework as a paper and do a scan, or you can make it a Word file, LaTeX, whatever you prefer. But make sure, don't submit it as a Word file. You need to make it, or as several photos. Make sure as one PDF file. You need to make sure to convert it as a PDF file, and the submission will be as PDF, and it must be neat, so you can get the other 2 points by getting this point. The MATLAB, there will be 3 projects for MATLAB. So, and also for the lab, you're gonna need a MATLAB a lot. So there will be the MATLAB. I think license should be available for you, and how to use. Like there's some videos about how to use MATLAB and how to submit the files using MATLAB. So make sure when you submit this to the MATLAB, submit the MATLAB figures in Word file and export this as a PDF file. Again, the submission will be as PDF for the figures, and for the code, you need to submit the AND file. If you have multiple AND files, you can compress them to be in zip files, so submit the zip file. If you have more than one AND file. So again, like there should be, I think you have access to MATLAB. There's a campus license, so you can download it and install your MATLAB on your personal computer. Here's a link how to follow. And if for example your computer is not able to do that, you should have access to run through the VPN, universal VPN. So you need to follow the directions in the help list how to have an access to the computer, like virtual computer. Then you can work on this even like on off-campus. Okay, so and also you are very encouraged to go to Appendix D of your textbook, do it as soon as possible, even this weekend. Go to Appendix D, which is several MATLAB resources, how to make a MATLAB programming. I'm not sure if you are familiar with MATLAB before, or is this the first time you're doing MATLAB? I'm not sure if Have you taken MATLAB in different courses? Did you take any MATLAB assignments? Yeah. Okay, so here you will practice more. So if you need to be professional in MATLAB, or you will learn how to be professional actually in this course. So it's very important. So you need to review how to use MATLAB. So go to Appendix D, and not only read this appendix, try to apply the course. Try to apply what you learned there. So it's very important. Again, it will be allowed up to 3 late submissions. After you have more than 3 late submissions for the homeworks or MATLAB, it will be zeros. Even if the solution is not posted, it will be graded as 0 because you have more than 3 late submissions. Any late submission will be graded as 70%. More than 3, it will be graded as zeros. Okay, so the end of the class will be April 22nd. Okay. The labs, again, there will be no lab in this week, so the labs will start from next week. Then make sure you need to follow up with your for the lab TA, so make sure or on Friday the TA will come here and to tell you about the lab, introduction about the lab, how the lab groups will be, and also tell you how to make the submission of the reports of the lab, because it's not going to be as regular paper, it will be as, I think, e-portfolio, so the TA will discuss this to you later. And then also for late policy of the labs, you can agree in the syllabus, but keep in mind the TA can modify the lab policies depending on the restriction. So even if the syllabus say it can be acceptable late, but the TA does not accept this, then it's not acceptable. Okay? So you need just to make sure to follow up with the TA and ask her or ask him. Okay, so is it you accept late submission or not? Exams. So exam 1, 2, 3, and final exam will be closed, not closed book. The final exam will be cumulative. So most likely the exam dates has already been assigned. But in case if there is any change in the dates, it will be announced at least 1 week in advance. That's in case. I'm not willing to change it, but in case if, for example, our progress is not good enough, then we need to delay it, then we will delay it 1 week. I will tell you 1 week in advance. Then any makeup exams will be given only in case of excused absence. So there must be excused absence. So here is a point in the syllabus how to obtain an excused absence. You need to submit a request to the Engineering Student Services, ESS. So here is following the direction. There is a link. You ought to go to the link, fill the form, submit the required documentation, like the reason what's needed, why you have this excused absence. Then the ESS will review this, validate this, then the assistant dean will determine if it's meet the standard or not. Then they will send an email to me. So I will send, then I will contact you and I will tell you, okay, let's schedule and make an exam. In case, if for example you submitted an excuse absence and it has been refused, or it says it's up to the instructor, please reach back to me. Explain to me your situation. If it is more convenient, it makes sense, convenience, or even I can schedule, I can give you a makeup exam, even if it has been refused by ESS. But it must be convenient. That's it. Okay, computer usage. So make sure you need to check your email at least once every 24 hours. Check your email, check Canvas for any updates, for any changes, or any updates. And when you send me an email, please make sure to include the course number, ELEC2120, so I can make sure that I know which section, because I'm teaching different courses, so I'm going to make sure which course, you're asking about this course, not other courses. So this must be in the title of the email, ELEC2120, then you can write an email. Okay, calculator policy, we will not use the calculator. We don't need to use the calculator in this course, but you are free. If you want to bring it, you can bring it to your test, that's fine. It's there's like 2 calculators recommended, TI-36X Pro or Casio FX11FES 5ES Plus. But again, we will not, I don't think we will use the calculator in this course, because most likely it's about the tools, not about the math itself. Okay, so cell phone and electronic devices, they are prohibited during the exams, during the lecture, unless if you are using your, for example, taking notes, if you're using your device like iPad or computer, laptop to take notes, that's fine, no problem with this. Okay, academic accommodation, if you have any accommodation, please go ahead and submit it as soon as possible. So you need to submit it through the AO Access, and you will send me an email, then we can meet with you and do the accommodation. Okay, so the test, again, you need to make sure for the test it's going to be closed note, closed book, and you need to write your name, email on this, or student ID. Again, makeup quizzes will be on the due dates to submit a request for excused absence is 1 week after the assignment. Okay? Now this is again the homeworks, and here's like the timeline. Homeworks, lab projects, for example, homework 5, there is no submission, then exam 1, and so on. So this is the timeline. We'll tell you about what we need to do. While for the labs, I didn't put time. This is depending on the TA again. The TA, reach back to the TA, he will tell you about this. Okay, so again, like the overall grade is 101. Any question? Okay, let me go a little bit of the files. Let's explore this. So here, assignments. I already told you what assignments are. Then current recording. I'm currently recording the lectures. So even like this today, this lecture it says recording now. So I'm going to record of the lectures in case, if for example some student, one student was sick and cannot come to class, or if you want to review the lecture notes, studying for the test, if you want to do anything, then you can find all the recordings here. Files, you will see the syllabus as a PDF file here, and you will see the homeworks, some files associated with the homework can be here. Most likely the homeworks are written in the homework assignment, but if there's any complementary files that you will find it here. Homework answers will be posted here. Once any homework answer posted, no late submission will be accepted. The labs, the files associated with the labs are here. All what you need to do in the labs, everything included here. So you can see like the answer sheets, the menu. Then the lecture notes, I'm willing to upload the lecture notes here, so you will find like each lecture file will be uploaded here. So you have the lecture notes available, you have the annotated recordings available, then you have the textbook, so you have multiple sources that are available to you. Then the only thing that you need is to study them. Okay? Now, let me go to a brief introduction about the signals, of course. Let's switch. Okay, so the course title 2120. Okay, so today is Wednesday, which is January 10, 24. Then we have Friday, January 12, 24. And in next week as well, we have there's Monday, January 15, 24. Wednesday, January 17, 24. Then Friday, January 1924. Keep in mind, as we know, in Monday it will be Martin Luther King Day, so there will be no class. Now there is a reading that you need to do before the class. So you need to prepare for the lecture by reading some notes from the book. So in Wednesday, which is today's lecture, we will go through course introduction. And you are required to do some readings before today's lecture. How? This is our first lecture. Right, so anyway, I'm going to write the page from 1 to 6. Appendix B, which will be about complex numbers. Appendix D, about MATLAB. So that's what you're required to do before today's lecture. But anyway, you can do it after, because today is our lecture, our first lecture, so you didn't know this. Now I'm going to tell you also what you need to do for readings for the following lecture so you can be ready. On Friday, you are required to read page 6 to 11. Wednesday, you can read page 11 to 21. Those are the reading. Then, on the following Friday, there will be homework actually. Homework number 1. So basically it is posted on campus. So basically posted as homework 1, and also in the same homework it says problem 1.11 on the textbook. So therefore this is our outline for this week and next week. So please make sure to write this information and read these notes or read these pages before coming to the class. Even when you read this, you cannot have a complete understanding of everything, that's fine. But at least you will have a clue what will be later, and what will be like in the following lecture or the next lecture. Because this is, again, the course is not easy. So when you read this and come to the lecture, it will make it more easy, much easier for you. Okay, so please make sure to do these readings before each lecture, and also I'm going to update with you every week about what you are supposed to do for reading. While for the lab 1, again, no labs this week, so lab 1 will be between January 16 to January 19. The lab location will be in Brown 358. And if you have any questions, contact your GTA. Who's your GTA? It will be on this course series. And again, in Friday lecture, the last 10 minutes, the TA will be here and she will explain to you more about the lecture. Okay? Clear? Any question about this? Let's start the course. This is signals and systems. The course has 2 words. signals and systems. Now, what does signal mean? What does system mean? What do you think the signal is? Like electrical circuit analysis. Like sine signal, right? Cosine signal, something like that, sinusoidal. Transient analysis. Like, as we know, AC circuit analysis, like AC signal, right? Like, most likely, it will be as a function of time, right? So anything comes with function of time, like, most often, is a function of time. And during AC circuit analysis, we did sometimes Laplace transformation, right? So sometimes, I mean, in AC circuit analysis, you can solve it using, for example, transient or something like that. You did Laplace transformation, or you can do it in differential equation, right? Or even in the AC circuit, right? Time domain, phasor domain. So Laplace is associated most likely with frequency domain, or phasor domain. In other words, we can say it's a modified version of frequency. So it can be as a function of time or function of frequency. So any signal can be converted either time domain or frequency domain. Frequency domain, as an example, Laplace transformation. And we will discuss later something called Fourier transformation, something else is called Fourier series. Those are associated with frequency domain. While time domain, the signal that we know, it can be any signal. Like sine, cosine, AC components, anything. And this signal, as an example, practical example, it can be from the temperature. Signals come from the temperature, thermostat. It can be your car speed. It can be the signal that comes from the microphone. It can be a medical signal. Any signal it can either have meaning or doesn't have meaning. Have meaning like what? Signals like microphone, that's medical devices, car speed, all of these are based on that signal. Now there are other signals that we know what it is, and we are using this to power up the devices, like the sine signal, the cosine signal that we know from circuits analysis, that we are using to power up the devices. So signals can be as power, or it can be as data. So you need to keep this in mind. Again, power signal, this type of signals that we are using this to power up the devices. So, for example, here the wall outlets, comes from the utility, which is we know 120 volts RMS. The angle is 60, the frequency is 60 hertz. The voltage is 120 volts RMS. And we know what signal, which is as cosine, right? And we know how to convert 120 angle 0 RMS to time domain, right? Because we know the frequency, 60 hertz. While, when I'm talking through the microphone will convert my voice into electrical signal. Do you know what's the signal shape? We cannot predict, because you cannot predict what I'm talking about, right? And even, like the temperature signal, it can vary, right? And also the signal comes from the car speed. The AM signal, the FM radio wave, AM, the wireless signals. All of these signals, we are not using this to power up the devices. We are using these signals because they have a data, they have a meaning. Even the internet, the fiber optics, all of these considered part of signals. All of these signals are what? They have data signals. So we cannot use my voice to power up something, to power up a light bulb. But I'm using the power signal to power up the devices. So that's why the microphone that I have, there is a battery with it. So the battery will be for the power signal to power up the microphone and to amplify my signal or receive it and send it. While my voice is a data signal. So you need to convert between this. I think You might be familiar with this from op-amps, operational amplifiers. I'm not sure, are you familiar with op-amps? Sometimes we can use, why we say we need to use buffer op-amp, because we are using it for isolation. Sometimes like as a microphone, as a practical application for the buffer op-amp to isolate the microphone, or like the, for example, some, you can say the imported signal that have data, so we will not use them to supply the signal. So we need to make sure, use this data and amplify it without changing this. While we are in the op-amps, there's a power rails plus VCC and PDD, and we are using this to power up the devices. That's one practical example of op-amp. Anyway, so you need to keep in mind again, two types of signals. It can be power or data. Now, even like the data, they have several types. So it can be as continuous signal, discrete signal, digital signal, something like that. So most likely discrete and digital are very close to each other. So you can say you make discretization, the signal, then by converting discretization, make a quantization, then you can convert this to binary 0 and 1, then you can use digital logic circuit, of course. Okay, so that's about the signal. How about the system? Of course, it's signals and systems. So what does system mean? What do you think? Any thoughts? Listening, what do you think? What do you think? When someone asks you, what do I mean by system? What's your answer? Yes?
Something that takes an input and then manipulates it and changes it to something else called the output.
Yes. Very excellent. So, when I have something, I put inputs. Like I have, like say, like a box. I put a box inputs. Then there will be something manipulated, something else. Then it will give me outputs. So this is considered as system. So again, system operates on input signal to generate an output signal. So you put inputs, it will give you output signal. So most likely the input, we used to denote this by x of t, output by y of t. As an example for inputs, it can be like sensors. Like any other measurements, some measurements. Anything we are using measurements of it. Outputs, for example, when you have a temperature measurement sensor, as an example for the output, like temperature, like increasing the temperature if you have a AC, something like that. Other type of the system, like when I'm talking now through the microphone, so my voice will be converted to be electrical signal. This input electrical signal will go through the microphone, then the microphone will go to the speaker, do some manipulation which is amplifying this signal, so you will hear my voice louder through the output which is through the speakers. That's one other type of signals or systems. Okay? Does this make sense? Now for the systems, we have different type of systems depending on the number of inputs and number of outputs. We have some things called single input, single output system, which is, we used to call it SISO, S-I-S-O, single outputs. We have single inputs, multiple outputs. So which is SI for single inputs, MO multiple outputs, CMOS system. Then we have multiple input, single outputs. MISO means. Then we have multiple inputs, multiple outputs. Which is MIMO. Okay? Let me demonstrate an example, which is resistor divider. So for example, we have 1 kilo ohm, 1 kilo ohm. Here is the inputs, and here is the outputs. Here is inputs, here is outputs. According to voltage division, V out equals to, if we say this is R1, this is R2, it will be Vn times R2 over R1 plus R2. Let's assume Vn as 10 sine omega t, so it will be as 10 sine omega t times 1 kilo over 1 kilo plus 1 kilo. Kilo will cancel each other, so it will be 1 over 2. So the answer will be 5 sine omega t. This is V output. So even this divider, resistive divider, is considered as a system. The input is 10. We divide it to halves. That's one part of the system. Okay? Now, as I mentioned as well, the signals can be continuous or it can be discrete signals. Continuous time signal, then we have discrete time signal. So continuous time most likely will be as x of t. Discrete of time, it will be as x, and look at the brackets, it's different than like parentheses. So x of t or x of t. So as an example of continuous time, like this, here's x of t, here is t, then we have something like that. So x of t takes values at all t time, or time t. So whenever we say we want to take it at t equal 1 second, 1 millisecond, 1 microsecond, 1 nanosecond, it can handle it. That can be fine. While the discrete signal is something different, which is depending on something we call it sampling rate. So most likely you will see, for example, a signal like here, sample, one sample like here, one sample like this, sample like this, sample like this. So you will see you cannot find at any time. You will see most likely there is a time difference between each sample, delta t, it's called delta t. And here this is the number of samples. So most likely x of n x of n is a discrete function of n, such that n can be any number. It can be either negative, 0, positive, etc. So they will be changing on the time on n. So the time increment here in discrete based on delta t. Based on delta t, or sometimes we can call it TO, or sometimes we can call it T, such that this is called sampling rates. Then I would say T equal NTO, or in other words, N delta T or N T upper. So in other words, X of N will be X N times delta T. So we can find it only at a certain sample. We cannot find it at any time. So for example, let's assume it's at delta T is 1 second. I can find it at T equals 0. T equal 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. While at half second, I cannot find it. This is depending on the sampling rate. And as an example of it, what would happen in the computer? Sampling, analog to digital converter. Something like this. So we will discuss this more next lecture. See you in